And I believe her when she says that if her husband was in any way abusing any of her children, she would be a widow. I believe that. You better butt out of their business.
This is Judge Judy.
I'll ask you one more time, and I want the truth.
Real
around
people.
my neck, and she was pulling
In real
jumped
cases.
on me.
Not true, Your
Twice.
Honor.
Yes,
What happened
In
when
real conflict.
He's lucky. I didn't beat you up.
She's a real judge with over 15 years of courtroom experience.
This is my courtroom. I ask the questions.
All parties on Patterson versus Loudon. Come forward, please.
Barbara Patterson claims her son-in-law is bad to her grandchildren. Keith Loudon says his mother-in-law is trying to destroy him with 500 calls to children's services.
Order. All rise. Order. Your Honor, it's number 69 on the calendar in the matter of Patterson versus Loudon. You may be seated.
Very sad case. When I read these papers, I couldn't wait to see what you two people looked like and what kind of people you were. Ms. Patterson, Mr. Loudon is the father of your 3 grandchildren. He's married to your daughter. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And you're suing him for $2,500. Stop playing with your papers when I'm talking to you. You're suing him for $2,500 because you say he harasses you, he has maligned you, and you want to be compensated. And he has just filed a countersuit, which the court has just received, for $5,000 against you, saying that you have engaged in a course of conduct over the last 2.5 years by calling Child Protective Services against him and clearly his wife and his children, with regard to his children, that he has assaulted them, that he has neglected them, that he has abused them. And all of these complaints, he says some 500 in number, have been found unfounded. When did you start to make these reports to Child Protective Services about him?
The first time was in 1992.
Based on what, Ms. Patterson?
When I walked in, what I saw was straight out of a nightmare. When I pushed open the door, Mr. Loudon was laying face down on his stomach wearing a pair of white men's shorts. He had my little grandbaby in his hands with her butt toward his face and her head away from him. I just whirled around. I ran upstairs. I got to Dorothy. I called my grandmother. I was a hysterical nut. Grandmother calmed me down. She said, tell Gwen, call the police, do whatever. I've watched this man ever since because my daughter's was basic denial. Oh, no. No, he loves his kids. Not my man, not my father. He's only playing. Okay, Your Honor, say she's right. This is the person that's only playing.
Your Honor, this lady needs help. She needs a lot of help.
Mr. Loudon.
Anytime a father feels that this is appropriate play with his child, this is a person that needs some serious parenting classes, serious sex education, and some serious therapy.
Mr. Loudon, do you recall the incident that she's talking about?
No, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, I don't. Your Honor.
Just a second. Do you recall the incident?
Yes, please, can I?
Would you step up, please? Tell me who you are.
I'm Gwen Loudon.
This is your mom.
That's my mother. Now, the first time we heard about this was in '91 at Tara Hills.
1991, 92.
Let me tell her. We had some out-of-town visitors come in, and my daughter disappeared. And when she disappeared, we freaked. We looked for her for like 2 hours.
How old was she?
She was about 5 at that time. I finally thought, my mother. I went over to my mother's house. There was my daughter. I tried to get the baby. She bit me. She bit me. And so
what does this have to do with the incident that you're talking about in '92?
I'm getting right to that.
Let's get there.
Let me get that. Okay, when I got home, 30 minutes later, the police came and said that there was a child being beaten and that the father was in the house and he was molesting, that he had molested the child. The police came in, the kids were asleep, they searched the children.
This was in '91.
This was in '91. Okay,
Did you make that call in '91?
No, ma'am. Your Honor.
Just. Did you had nothing to do with this matter in 1991?
My daughter mixes incidents. It's not the same incident.
I want to know 1992. This incident with the baby that he's talking about. Do you remember anything about that, sir?
Your Honor, can I say this to dispute what she said? I have records here to show, Your Honor, that from the court, that I've never been charged or anything been filed against me on any of these matters. I have record of that for all those years.
I don't think that there's any question, sir, that if there was anything substantiated, you wouldn't have your children.
Absolutely.
Today, your children are with you.
Question of abuse, harassment, and stability continues in a moment.
You acknowledge that you make all these calls to Child Protective Services
Yes, ma'am.
over and over and over
Yes,
and over
ma'am.
again, and you're going to continue to make them, you say, until you get satisfaction.
Yes, ma'am.
Barbara Patterson claims her son-in-law is bad to her grandchildren. Keith Loudon says his mother-in-law is trying to destroy him with 500 calls to Children's Services.
Let's go back a second. So I haven't heard anything else about this incident that allegedly happened in 1992. You continue to make telephone calls to CPS.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Your Honor, these people are people
This is your daughter. These aren't these people.
I'm aware of
How
that.
many children do you have?
I have 3.
Where are your other 2 children?
Anthony is in Selma. Jean has been transferred to Marysville, I believe.
What do you mean, Marysville, you believe?
Jean was incarcerated. Jean is the other daughter who...
Your other daughter, not the other daughter.
Addicted to crystal meth and just kind of got her life screwed up.
Just a second. So you have 3 children. I assume you don't talk to the daughter who's...
Yes, I do. She talked to me Saturday.
Well, because you said, I assume she's someplace, so I wondered whether or not you...
Because I don't know if she left her yet.
And what about your son? Does he have children? Is he married?
Anthony kind of bounces around. Nobody really knows where he is.
So that the only one of your children is around, who's around in this area is this daughter, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And she has your grandchildren?
Yes.
And these are your only grandchildren?
Oh, no, I've got 10.
By whom?
My son has 3 daughters. My
From
daughter...
bouncing around?
I guess so. He has 3 daughters. My other daughter has 3 sons, and this one has 3 daughters. And then there's a new baby. I don't know if it's a girl or boy yet by my son. It's down in Selma. So I got 10.
How many of the 10 do you see?
None. Not a one.
You wanted to say something?
Yes.
Tell me why you think your mother is... Listen, you acknowledge that you make all these calls
Yes,
to Child
ma'am.
Protective
I certainly do.
Services
Yes, ma'am.
over and over and over
Yes,
and over
ma'am.
again, and you're going to continue to make them, you say, until you get satisfaction.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Why do you think your mother is making all these charges?
I know why.
Well, then let me hear.
When I asked my mother about those claims, she denied it.
She denied what?
She denied. I said, why are you going around telling our neighbors, because the neighbors came back and said, could you believe what your mother said, this and this? I said, why are you going around telling people that my husband, that's a disgusting thing to say. And believe me, if he did something to my kids, the cops would find him. I don't play that.
Right.
Okay?
How would they find him, Mrs. Loudon?
He wouldn't be standing. Okay? And she knows that all about me. She didn't keep making these calls. She made the calls. I accused her of them. She denied them. She's lived in our house 3 or 4 times after that. For months, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months.
That's how I know you,
Kiss
Honor.
his butt. Bring him plates in bed. Now, her family comes back out of town. She has somebody else to tear her butt with. She starts in again.
Your Honor, that's a deliberate and willful fabrication. My brother and his wife were here 2 months ago. These people systematically and terrified those people until they were even afraid to call
Well,
my
now let me
house.
hear about your lawsuit. Now I've heard about their countersuit. Let me hear
but
about your lawsuit.
Your Honor, I'm being rushed through this, and I have not had a chance to show the court that the reasons I call are for reasons like this. My 8-year-old granddaughter, she's 9 now, wears glasses. This is correspondence between me and her school and proof that she wears prescription glasses.
What are you having correspondence with your granddaughter's school about?
She's going to classes without glasses.
What are you having correspondence with your granddaughter's school
You're not
about?
understanding me.
Oh, I'm understanding you, madam. I sat in the
can't
family
see.
court for 20 years, and I understand exactly what you're saying to me. Why are you corresponding with your granddaughter's school?
Because I've been getting her glasses to her classroom for the last 3 years for her to be able to see her schoolwork.
You are.
That's
Miss Patterson,
a lie,
Miss
Here are the
Patterson, Miss Patterson,
Prescriptions, and I pay for them.
I don't care whether you pay for them or not. You've caused these reports to Child Protective Services.
ma'am.
I assume, and I must assume, that with the number of calls that have been made and the number of investigations that have been made, and as sensitive as everyone is on the issue of child protective proceedings, whether it be abuse or neglect, if there was a scintilla of evidence, credible evidence, they would remove these children from that home.
No, ma'am.
Don't. Well, you say no, I say yes, and I win because I'm the judge. Now, now, I want to know why you're suing them. I know why they're suing you.
Okay.
Why are you suing them for harassment? How do you say they harassed you?
By calling police officers and saying, this lady's going to kill us, this lady's going to come to our house, and this lady's coming with a gun, and this and that and the other. None of these statements are true. The truth is I have little sickly grandbabies that are asthmatics, that live in a house that's dirty most of the time. I have a brother.
I haven't heard how they are harassing you, madam. You want to
But
give
that's
it...
how. The pain and suffering, knowing my grandbabies are wheezing or they're coughing or they don't
Ready
have
to go.
medicine in school.
Listen to me. I want you to be very quiet.
You know.
I want you to be very quiet.
Question of abuse, harassment, and stability continues in a moment.
You are unsuccessful with at least 2 of your own children, and as far as I can see, you are being unsuccessful with regard to this child.
Barbara Patterson claims her son-in-law is bad to her grandchildren. Keith Loudon says his mother-in-law is trying to destroy him with 500 calls to children's services.
This is an absolute tragedy.
It is.
That a family has reached a point where they have to come into court to expose the inner workings of their family.
Absolutely.
Miss Patterson, I'm a grandmother. And if someone were to ask me whether I thought that I could raise my grandchildren better than my daughter and son-in-law, and whether I think that they talk to the grandchildren properly all the time, or whether I thought that the discipline of my grandchildren was appropriate all the time, I would say to you unequivocally not. That if children had the ability to choose between being reared by a grandparent or a parent, most children would say, give me my grandma any minute of the day because she takes better care of me and she doesn't discipline me. These children have parents. And you may not like the fact that their house is dirty, that it's in terrible shape, that your grandchildren don't, you believe, get what they're supposed to get. That is, madam, something that you're just going to have to swallow because it's none of your business. And I'm going to tell you something else that you're not going to like. You have 3 children. And as far as you've been able to tell me, you were totally unsuccessful with 2 of them. So what makes you a maven when it comes to to child rearing? You are not. If you were to say to me that you had 3 children, and one of them is a professor, and one of them has had a consistent job and never been on drugs, and everybody is married and responsible and has children born during the purview of a marriage, rather than 10 children all over the place being sired by somebody that you say bops around, right? Then I would say to you, well, you're a wonderful mother and we should set you up as a standard. That is not the case. You are unsuccessful with at least 2 of your own children. And as far as I can see, you are being unsuccessful with regard to this child, who appears to me to be a responsible lady. And I believe her when she says that if her husband was in any way abusing any of her children, she would be a widow. I believe that. You better butt out of their business. The judgment in this case is on the counterclaim. I'm going to award you a token, sir. I'm awarding you $500. You better leave them alone. The plaintiff's case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. Step out, please.
Mr. Williams wasn't allowed to speak, but it's okay. We're going to family court.
This woman has tormented my life, and justice has been served on this behalf, and I'm glad that this opportunity has been presented to show that she herself is the unfit person.
And now, the next case.
All parties on Lambert. Step forward, please.
Navy man Larry Lambert borrowed $60 from his friend and female sailor, Tanisha Scott. He was late paying her back, so she's brought him to court.
It has been a very long day, Mr. Lambert. We've waited all day for the plaintiff to arrive. Plaintiff hasn't arrived. All the court business having been concluded, I've decided to hear this case without the plaintiff being here. I'm going to tell you why, sir. because this looks to me like a ridiculous little lawsuit to begin with. And since the plaintiff chose not to come today, if I dismiss this case, if she has some reason why she's not here, she's just going to haul you into court on another day. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
So, you're not Mr. You are ensign, private. I don't know about the military. What are you?
YNSN.
YNS?
Yeah.
So what's your-
YNSN.
YNSN. So can I call you Mr. Lambert?
Sure.
Good. Mr. Lambert, it says in these papers, sir, that the plaintiff made a loan to you of $60.
Yes, she did.
And that you were supposed to repay her within what time frame?
A week.
And that you didn't repay her within the week.
Yes, ma'am.
So that she threatened ultimately to sue you if you didn't give her the money.
That's true.
And so you then gave her the money.
Yes.
Why didn't you give her the money when you were supposed to in the week?
Well, it goes without saying that I told her I would pay her money in a designated time frame. We was about maybe a week and a half from payday, and I was depending on someone else to give me some money that was owed to me so that I would just eventually pay her off. The people who were supposed to have paid me my money never did. So, and without the money owed to me, I couldn't pay her. So I had to wait till the next payday.
Did you pay her then when you got your check the next payday right away?
Not right away.
Well, so that was wrong.
Yes, it was.
But you ultimately gave her back the $60, and this lawsuit is for the $30 in court costs because she filed a claim.
Yes.
And when she served you with the summons, then you paid her.
No, I paid her. Yes, I did.
So that what she's claiming in this lawsuit is the $30.
That's
that
true.
it cost her to collect her $60. That's why I
Yes.
said it's sort of a ridiculous little lawsuit. Now, Mr. Lambert, you don't want to have to come back to court again, do you?
No, I do not.
You would like to put this whole matter behind you, wouldn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
So you would like to pay her the $30 that she invested, wouldn't you?
I would like to pay her?
Yes.
No.
Mr. Lambert, let me put it to you another way. Why should she be out 30 to collect her 60?
Well, in this case, I admit my one fault was not paying her when I told her I was for the $60. And when I said I didn't pay her on payday, time went by, After I didn't pay her the first time, we were on speaking terms, I wouldn't see her at work because we worked 2 different shifts, or just during the workday I would never see her. So, we got paid, just say the first, we got paid on the first. I didn't pay her until the 9th. I didn't see her within that time frame.
You should have seen her right away, Mr. Lambert.
And that's true,
You
but
should have seen her right away.
Judge Judy will return in a moment.
All I'm saying to you, sir, is I can say this case is over. And what I'm telling you is based upon the papers that I read and the fact that this woman is tenacious enough to sue you for the $30, to go and take out another summons for the $30 to get back her 60.
yes.
She's going to do it again. And you look like a very nice young man who is an honest and honorable young man.
That's true.
So you made a mistake, and she was a nice person. It seems to me you should want me to award her the $30 and end this matter permanently. I give you one final opportunity, sir. Do you want to end this chapter in your life permanently?
No, I do not, Judge.
This case is dismissed. Mr. Lambert, I wish you good luck, sir. You are very, very strong in your position, but morally, you're wrong. Understood?
Yes.
That's all.
Step out, please.
I was curious what you feel about the judge's decision.
I feel it was unfair. I admitted my guilt once, and I'm being taken to court because of $30 court fees. She was paid her money. She should have been happy with that. I didn't ask her to go to the court or file charges against me in the beginning. You know, I made my mistake of not paying her on a designated time, but she received her money. She, on her own, went to file those court cases, so she should have been responsible to pay for it. You know, that was my only agreement, was to pay her $60. She was paid. This should have never happened in the beginning. And now it seems as though I'm still held at fault because she didn't show up for court. You know, and that was her negligence. That was her fault. She knew about it. You know, we all had the same time. We had everything planned. She could have came just as well as I did. You know, I feel like I was unjustly, you know, just done wrong. It's not